It is Thursday, November 2nd. Hello, I'm Mr. Warren Hayes. This is the AEW Dynamite review on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, whether youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes or on your favorite podcast application, wherever. This is what we're doing here. I've got a dog in the background being absolutely crazy, and I'm absolutely crazy too. We're recording this on the Wednesday evening after Dynamite. As you know, not your typical Warren Hayes arrangement. This is not usually what I do. I like to record the next day, record on the Thursday, sleep on the events of the previous Dynamite, come in with clarity, refreshed. Sometimes a little distance helps provide, a little more, a better view of things. But no, I have to do this. I'm recording this after the show on the Wednesday evening, shortly thereafter, not immediately after, but shortly thereafter, where took the time to think about things and collect my thoughts, write some notes. I try to collect my thoughts as best I can. Because listen, if it were up to me, I would absolutely not be doing this on Wednesday. If I knew, and you see those of you watching on YouTube right now, there you go. You have a wild animal who just arrived, and this is going to be a persistent theme on top of it all tonight, just to add to the overall chaos. I would much rather. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I took a look at my calendar, pulled it up, and I was like, "Is there anything that I can move around? Is there anything that can be moved around? Is there anything that I don't have to partake in?" And turns out, no. Turns out everything is pretty much set in stone. And I want to stay. The thing with when you do these types of reviews, you have to be timely. The later you do them, the less they become relevant, so I have to be a little timely on this, and you all expect and deserve for stuff to be on time, so that's what I'm going to do. And that is my dog's squeaky toy right now, because she's decided to come and squeak this right next to me, on this night where I'm in no mood. She just flopped down next to me. She's got her squeaky toy. She's got a whole bunch of other very silent, amusing toys. She's got a bull rope. She's got one of those phony baloney bones. Whatever. All sorts of things. That she could be enjoying right now that don't make any sounds. But no, she says, "Hey, Dad, you're gonna be recording. Hey, let me be on the podcast." Basically, I wish I had time to really get some distance on this, because I'm gonna come out straight out and tell you all, just before I ask you to subscribe and like the video and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and 5-star rating on Spotify. I did not like this show at all. No, that's not quite true. There are a couple of things on this show which I really liked, which always give you the impression that, okay, well, you're in for a Dynamite. But what we got tonight, and I'm going to be accused of hyperbole here, but what we got tonight was Wednesday Night Raw in its purest form. And I know this frustrates some people. I know the freakazoids are out in full force, and I say that lovingly, but they're out in full force, telling people, calm the fuck down, that are not happy that some of us did not like what they like. And that's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it's happening tonight. And I will not take away anyone who found enjoyment in this, and God bless you if you did. We just have completely, utterly different standards as to what constitutes a good professional wrestling show. Now, I'll have a ton of people tell me, "Oh, it was fun, Warren. Oh, this was, this thing here was funny. This was amusing. It was fun. This, that, and it was fun." But here's something completely wacky. I watch pro wrestling I watch professional wrestling shows to watch professional wrestling. You want to give me hours upon hours of skits and promos and sports entertainment stuff? I've got 7 hours a week that I can pick and choose from. That's right, squeak, squeak. But as for me, what I got tonight was absolutely not the definition of what a good pro wrestling show is. This was an episode of Dynamite that was structured exactly like an evening of Monday Night Raw or of Friday Night SmackDown. It was structured exactly the same way, where you had promos to start off, well, first of all, started with recaps, okay, which normally I don't have a problem with. Short little recaps like that, not sprawling 3-minute things. Nice little recap to just set the stage for a couple of big events tonight. I have no problem with that. But it starts with recaps, then goes into angles. Then throughout the evening, the main angle of the entire show, the MJF stuff, throughout the entire show was him getting into trying to find his partners. Oh, who could it be? I have so many enemies. He has a clipboard, walking around going, knocking people off the list, going to knock on doors. No one wants to talk to him. Chris Jericho turns him away. All throughout the evening. That is the most WWE thing. Right down to how they're produced, how they're put together. When he attempts to reject the Acclaimed for the last time, and Max Caster gives him the gear in the trash bag, right? Right down to that moment where he turns around and Jeff Jarrett and group is there. That is like they were there all along. We had this one shot with MJF and the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed go this way. The camera turns this way. MJF, not MJF, but Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay, and the whole gang. They were all there the whole time. That is that is WWE production. That is exactly it. Now, if you think I'm doing hyperbole here, if you think I'm going overboard, if you think, well, Warren's finally, old man Hayes is off his rocker, then maybe you're new here and you don't partake in the Dynamite review usually, which is fine. I welcome. You're not landing on a great night. It's not a good day to begin, but thank you for being here nonetheless. I have been pointing things out for weeks, months at this point, where you could see and feel how the tides were changing over certain things, how certain storylines were being developed, how the show was structured, how we were leaning more and more into sports entertainment aspects, right? Figuratively, literally. I mean, the heel stable of sports entertainers is no more. And the heel stable of sports entertainers are keeping other wrestlers from trying to do sports entertainment to the delight of the fans. I mean, they want the wrestlers want to do sports entertainment, but the former stable of sports entertainers no longer want the wrestlers to do sports entertainment. And the crowd goes, boo, let them do sports entertainment. Oh, Warren, you're exaggerating. I really didn't like this episode. I believe this is my least favorite, okay? Because I don't want to talk in absolutes. I think this is my least favorite episode of Dynamite. No, you know what? Fuck it. This is the worst episode of Dynamite I've seen. This is the worst. And immediately we're pulling up cage matches. We said, well, how can you compare it to this one? I'll compare it to whatever the hell I want. If you're pulling out bad Dynamites from the empty arena era, and you're trying to tell me, was it worse than this? You know what? I absolutely expect shows in 2023 to be better than the shows in 2020 and 2021 in those empty arenas when wrestling promotions were stringing anything and everything together as best they could to keep a weekly wrestling program going. Yes, I absolutely believe this is worse because we should not be comparing to pandemic era shows. We should not. And I have a standard, and this is something that I'm not going to apologize for. Again, if you found enjoyment in what happened tonight, all the more power to you. I'm convinced that there's 7 hours of other pro wrestling happening on planet Earth right now that you would enjoy if you enjoyed tonight's Dynamite. You can absolutely go and enjoy that as well. But I have a standard that I hold to myself, which is why I do this to begin with. And I'm hoping that this standard appeals to you, the listener, the viewer. Otherwise, why are you here? You know, I'm assuming that there's some things that resonate with you. And I don't expect you to agree with everything. In fact, you should not agree with me on everything. We should be able to not see eye to eye and disagree on some things, but at least have big picture ideas. I'm like, all right, Warren ain't in it this week. Don't quite agree with him. This might be one of those weeks, and that's fine. But back to my standards. I cannot wait for the archive of AEW Dynamites to end up on publicly accessible on any fucking platform. Max, Bleacher Report, fucking Disney Plus, Pluto. I don't care where they end up. I am excited to go back and rewatch these periods of AEW that gave us exactly what we were looking for. This alternative, this challenger brand, this company, this promotion that decided that they were going to do things differently, that they were not going to emulate, that they were going to challenge, they were going to stimulate, they were going to try and give something different. I refuse to believe that what we've been getting tonight, but multiple times, go back and listen to my audio, my video. There are multiple instances reviewing Dynamite where I'm saying outright, I didn't care for it. Where's the Dynamite of old? Where is the Dynamite of January 2020 that just came back from Christmas break and was killer? Where is this Dynamite that week after week was must-see TV? The TNT title open challenge with Cody Rhodes. Where is that? Where is Bryan Danielson at the start of 2023 giving us crazy week after week matches, incredible Dynamites? This strip from fall 2022, post Fall Brawl, post Full Gear, right up to Revolution. Where is that Dynamite? Where is that AEW? Because what I got tonight is a culmination of things that I've been pointing out to you week after week. It's not just me losing my marbles. It's me going, I saw this coming, and I've been telling you. I've been trying to steer you right. This is always what I try to do. I try not to steer you wrong. I'm not infallible. I'm not perfect. But every time I told you in the lead up to the November 1st AEW Dynamite, I was telling you, this show, this thing, man, it's starting to feel a lot more like the other guys. And you know what? Here's the thing. Let me take a sip of water. I do not blame AEW to have this this cold shiver run up and down their spine when they see WWE's business doing so well, when they're filling out arenas, when Dynamite's the flagship show for the past 3 to 4 months have had trouble getting 4,000 people in a building. Some places, 3,000 people in a building. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for seeing their annual reports, for seeing their earnings, for seeing people go crazy with the bloodline angle. And go and sit around and say to themselves and ask themselves, maybe this is what we should be doing. What if we're wrong? I don't blame them. Can we outright chastise them for making decisions that emulate the market leader who is in a very successful period, has been for the better part of a year now, right? You could extend that maybe to 14, 16 months. Very successful. Can you blame them for doing this? For wanting to dip their toes a little more and give us more wacky segments and outrageous characters and, and hidden camera, and invisible camera is what I meant to say, invisible camera segments. And all these things that we bemoaned that WWE kept doing over and over again was so annoying and terrible. But now I'm supposed to sit here and cheer this on just because it's 3 different letters in the name of the promotion? No. If I'm anything, I'm going to be consistent here. It's one of the reasons I stopped watching WWE. And it's not one of the reasons. I hope it never becomes a reason I stop watching AEW, because I don't want to stop watching AEW, because more often than not, it is fantastic. Now, if I don't be vocal and I don't complain about what I'm seeing, and I'm just like, it's just going to get worse. And tonight, it has hit. I think it's hit its worst mark. AEW was created on the basis that they would not be like the other guys. This is exactly how it was able to create this grassroots movement of support when Cody and the Bucks and Kenny and then later Jericho, when they all started, and Brandy, when they all started hitting the trail, and they were doing these impromptu press conferences out in the open, outside, next to arenas, and they had an audience around, and they were cheering. This is what we were excited about, and this was the promise that we were being made. They would not be like the other guys. They would bring back professional wrestling to North America and not be ashamed of being professional wrestlers. And we got that for a while. For a good while. I don't recognize this company right now. We are a we are detached, extremely detached from the vision that this company was built on and had for years. And I don't know how far this goes. I don't know how much it is, how much it is looking at financials and looking at the success of WWE and investing time and creative energy into creating angles and stories that people of bad faith have always tried to pin on AEW. There's no stories, right? This is the company that does no stories. Had the story of Hangman Adam Page and his coronation as AEW champion, but that was not a story, right? No. And you know, the whole elite breakup stuff, right? No. That wasn't, that absolutely was not a story. There were no stories. You know, the Blackpool Combat Club, that wasn't a story. It's no story. There were never, right? Never story. No stories. Just no stories. And then you keep hearing that over and over again. And Tony Khan is always on, he's always online. He's always on Twitter. And he keeps hearing this. There's no stories, no stories. How do we know it didn't get to him? How do we know that this is not a response? But these all come from the same bad faith people. It's always the same bad faith actors who for some reason do not want AEW to succeed, who prefer to have a monopoly in wrestling. They much prefer that for some godforsaken, bizarre fucking reason. A healthy ecosystem of a healthy competitive ecosystem of professional wrestling. No, that doesn't appeal to these weirdos. And Tony tried to cater to them. That's what I'm assuming. I'm not talking from a point of knowledge. This is a gut feeling. And he catered to them. He's like, oh, I don't have any stories. Let's start doing stories. We're going to make stories, real deal stories, just like they do in WWE with characters and plot points and instead of just keeping it at its simplest core. Well, we're going to do stories. Well, they're pretty heavy-handed now. And the bad faith people, now that they see these stories, they've moved on to other things to bitch about. They're finding other things to complain about. They're never going to be happy. Why even bother? Yet a fan base was rabid about this. Why is attendance down? Why are we struggling? Why did we struggle, I should say, to fill Arthur Ashe this year? Phil, get it to 10,000 people. Why was this a struggle? Is it because the product doesn't feel that hot anymore? Yep. Again, this is something that I've talked about multiple times here. I think it is okay to call this a bad episode. I'm going all the way and saying this is the worst I've seen of this episode of Dynamite. And on top of that, it is coupled with worries that I have about the product. That it's slowly becoming WWE light. And if there is one thing that the history of professional wrestling, modern contemporary wrestling has taught us, is that any promotion trying to be WWE light is doomed to fail. They will not succeed. Maybe AEW is the pay-per-view show. Promotion, I should say. Maybe AEW is maybe ultimately that's the end game. It's a good old-fashioned pay-per-view promotion that churns out tremendous cards. That could be. There's precedent. It's happened in the past. There have been promotions that have been like this. Maybe this is it. But on a weekly basis, I haven't been sitting in. Do you remember? Just this past year, I was sitting right here and telling you we are spoiled. I was telling you this in January, in February this year. Spoiled. Because of the quality of shows we were getting. The quality of matches week per week. You remember? I do. When's the last time I said that? When is the last time I said that in regards to AEW Dynamite? What happened? And where are we now? This structure of this show, we can get into the show itself if you want, if you may. Because right now, I'm just all I am right now is thinking about how it made me feel, how I saw everything come together and like this, look, because at some point I realized I was looking at my phone and waiting for the final hour to end. I was looking at my phone at 9:56 p.m. I was like, and I said to myself, Jesus Christ, there's 4 minutes left. And I don't remember the last time I ever did that for a Dynamite. I don't recall. But I invite you to take a moment and think about how this show was structured. Think about the highlights. Think about the things that happened on this show. I want you to put your brain to it and think about it. And I want you to make parallels with what you know about WWE. I want you to tell me how different this was, because it really wasn't that different. Right now, and by the way, before we start talking about the show, for the cage match, folks, I'm one of them. I'm including myself in here. The cage match folks were pulling up old episodes of pandemic era Dynamite saying, you think it's worse than this? Listen, cage match right now is rating this Dynamite at 3.44 out of 10. 17 votes so far. We're not out of the woods like this, but as I'm recording this at 1:45 on November 1st, 3.44 out of 10. It is currently, you ready for this? It is currently the worst rated AEW Dynamite on Cage Match. The only things that are rated worse are some episodes of Dark that have like 7 votes. We're up to 17. This is going to keep growing. We'll see how things set up here. But the next Dynamite, the next highest Dynamite out of this one, which again, 3.44 out of 10. You have to go on another page. That's how far we have to go. We have to go to the August 25th Dynamite. 4.62. Main evented by Malachi Black versus Brock Anderson. Remember that one? I was there live. Dreadful Jamie Hayter and Red Velvet match. I was there. And I didn't think it was as bad as what I saw tonight. Which hailed from Louisville, Kentucky, from the KFC Yum Center. Let me tell you, 3,616 again. We can't even get over the 4,000 hump. Again, this might change. Usually, WrestleTix will update on the next day. If everything was working so well and everything was so successful, why aren't these arenas full? If everything was so good, why is it that I'm sitting here feeling like I have to defend my criticism of the show? Oh, everyone is really happy when everyone is super happy when Warren gets really, really excited and is like, yeah, this was fantastic. And everyone is like in a big hug box and we're going to say, yeah, AEW's great. But when I point out glaring issues, and I come out and tell you this is the worst show I've seen in AEW Dynamite history, it's hyperbole, Warren. What are you talking about? You're talking in absolutes, Warren. Tell you something. This is something that I learned very, very early when I was in university. I would write my papers and I would say, I believe that, I think that. And my teacher, my profs, would all tell me, when you are trying to make a convincing argument, starting a statement by saying, I think, I believe, makes it look inherently weaker. Because there is an appellation that you feel that there is some doubt, that you're leaving some room. Are you trying to convince me? Are you trying to convince me that your points are good? Then don't say, I think, just state them. State them confidently. And that always stuck with me. So if my arguments are shaking you and you feel like I'm speaking in absolutes, that I'm speaking in universal truths, I'm probably doing something right, quite honestly. You can still disagree. But if your argument is you're coming on too strong, that's because I feel confident about this. And no one tells me, Warren, you're coming on too strong, when I'm sitting here raving as passionately as I am now at how great Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson was at Wrestle Dream. No one says, Warren, you're talking in absolute. No, because everyone agrees then. Because we're all on the same side. Because we're all saying, oh yes, see, he's saying nice things about the thing I like, so this is good. But when I say things, bad things or critical things about the thing you like, oh, then suddenly it becomes, no, this is going too far. You need to be more respectful. I'm being super respectful. You can absolutely disagree with me. In fact, I invite you to disagree with me. And if you disagree with me, you better tell me precise reasons other than, well, you're just going off. No. Tell me why I'm disagreeing. Well, you're just going. That's not good enough. Give me reasons why I am wrong. Why my opinions here are not correct. Why I am off base with what I feel. And you bet for things that I feel positive about and things that I feel negative. Because there's one thing I feel positive about on this show. Two things. That's the opening match. One of them is the opening match, which I really enjoyed. I'm sitting down. I got myself a nice glass of Coca-Cola. I got my dog next to me rolled up in a ball. And I'm petting her. I'm chatting with Kristen. We're enjoying it. I'm seeing Claudio Castagnoli do Claudio Castagnoli things. I might be the first person to say this on planet Earth. Claudio Castagnoli is so strong. Right? Have you noticed that Claudio Castagnoli is a very strong man? Have you noticed? And he's throwing Orange Cassidy around. Cassidy he's doing his best. But Claudio's in final boss mode. He's not letting anything slide. And he's doing this glorious stalling superplex. Glorious. He's using gut wrenches right and left. Cassidy's doing his best to string shit together. He can't. He's fighting from beneath. He's got the champ's number. Or does he? No, he wins. In a tremendous match. Great stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, the match ends and I'm like, there we go. And this is something I say every fucking week. This is a hallmark of Dynamite, starts with a hot match. Every week. Bookended with hot matches. Remember that. Bookended with hot matches. Mox comes in after. We get some interference as well by Hook in this. Hook is coming in to And he starts jaw-jacking with Yuta. Looks like there might be a little something going on there. We're setting something up maybe for the pay-per-view, for the buy-in or whatever. But after the match, Jon Moxley comes in. The hell just happened? Everything just flickered. Are we good? We're good. I'm leaving this in. No time to edit. We're still recording, right? Yeah, okay. Everything's all right. Jon Moxley comes in. He enters the ring, and Orange Cassidy, for some reason, gets a bit of a moment of stupid babyface syndrome. And he gets into the ring, and he proceeds to get the shit beat out of him. Not exactly Orange's brightest hour here. And stupid babyface syndrome is a very significant thing in, the other place. We also have backstage. We see backstage during the Cassidy Castagnoli fight. We see we see Hook and Yuta trying to get at it, and officials are trying to keep them apart. And eventually, Hook leaves the building. Do you want me to say that this is also a very WWE thing to do? Do you want me to say that as well? No? Okay, I won't. Don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. I don't want to be this aggressive. I love you all. I really do. But look, I jumped into the match, but before it all, we had MJF, who's video conferencing with Adam Cole. And then, look, I'm glad to see Adam Cole in good spirits, right? I don't know how much of look, I think he is injured. I don't know how bad it is. Look, I don't know. I don't care. The only part I care in this entire story with the brochachos and Roderick Strong and all this, the only thing I care about is who beat up on MJF. I think that's the most interesting part. I just want this whodunit. They should be dropping more hints instead of doing the glitchy, the video glitch and then the devil appearing on screen and glitching out, which I complained about last week. Mind you. Why did I complain about it? I'll spare you the reason. I think you can figure it out at this point. The Roderick Strong stuff, to me, it's lost value. Not even entertainment. Like, I don't think, it hasn't been funny in weeks. Now it's just grating and annoying. I don't even think it's fun. I think it's stupid. Matt Taven now, did you notice? Not only is he carrying the giraffe, but he's got a giraffe pattern hoodie. Get this shit off TV. Like, I don't care. And it's watering down everything else. Because the thing here, and again, you can go back and listen. I'm so fucking constant with this. I keep telling everyone, MJF is tremendous. He doesn't need all this artifice. He is so good. He doesn't need this. He's straight up fantastic. He was in an article. I don't remember where. I saw this today. I glanced at it. I don't even know. It just went past me, and look. He's one of the hottest up-and-comers in Hollywood or something to that effect. Of a face to look out for. Good for him. We know why he's tremendous. Pro wrestling's not going to keep this guy forever. The thing is, Max, and I can't say it enough, he is a tremendous, tremendous talent. I don't have to put over how good he is on the stick. Everyone knows. But I think he is better without all of this nonsense. He's better when he starts getting real, when he starts getting authentic, when he starts getting angry, when the stakes are starting to rise. That's when he excels. The legendary, the great MJF promos, they're not going to come out of this mishmash where on one hand he's doing comedy, then suddenly he turns around and now he's seriously. These splits, this psychosis that exists in MJF's direction right now, this is not what we're going to remember. These are not going to be the great promos that we're going to remember. You know, no one remembers late stage Roddy Piper. They remember him for the great stuff. MJF has done great stuff. And on top of it, a phenomenal worker. I can't say it enough. He is the most complete pro wrestling package on planet Earth right now. And he's under 30. He is the most complete pro wrestler that this planet has spat on to us. Fantastic work rate, tremendous charisma, incredible mic worker. He's got it all. This whole stuff with the brochachos and all that, it annoys me. I'm done with it. It's so boring. Why are we doing this? And you know what? Here's the thing. We know. And look, even the story of MJF being hounded from all sides, right? This was brought up in the recap tonight, where they showed highlights of Omega versus MJF, which a tremendous main event match, like unquestionable, the kind of thing where I'm sitting here, bemoaning what happened tonight, whereas on the other side, a couple of days ago, I just watched a tremendous match. Collision is another beast. Collision is not like Dynamite. What was I saying? Lost my train of thought on that one. Got sidetracked with the Omega match. Yeah, so they were showing highlights, right? Of the Omega match, and then they led into all of these people coming for MJF. And that is good. That's a good pro wrestling angle. Dare I say, story. Should I use the S word here? It is a good story. I enjoyed it. But we get to this stuff, just gets completely lost in the shuffle. It's not the issue that there are so many challengers coming after MJF. It's the issue that MJF is spreading on so many levels, from serious to goofy to... It's hard to connect with what's going on. And I wish they'd focus on what is simple and effective. The whole thing with Jay White right now always had this specter of Roderick Strong hanging around, having to do the goofy bullshit, having to call Adam Cole on TV during promo time. I'm fed up with it. I've been fed up with it for a while. It's never been for me. But even back then, when I was trying to be diplomatic and nice about it, I was saying, look, it's not for me, but don't you feel like this is a little too much like you can find on the other channel? On the other show? Because it kind of feels like it. Anyway, we get the match with Claudio. Tremendous stuff. Then we get a tremendous promo by Moxley backstage. Those are my two favorite things of the show. The opener and here's something even more doubly ironic. Just came to my mind right here. Something doubly ironic. Orange Cassidy, who joined the company with arguably the most sports entertaining character, right? Arguably the one where you're like, this is goofy. I've always liked him, don't get me wrong, but you could absolutely make a case and no, this is too much nonsense. This is a guy right now who is embodying the best in professional wrestling this company has to offer. He's one of the top champs in pro wrestling in 2023. And he is becoming less of a goofball in the ring. Look, tonight, no shenanigans. He's even continued this transition, where he has his opponent sitting down and usually he'll go for just the soft kicks, right? But he starts doing the soft kicks, but suddenly they become harder and harder and harder, and he strikes it and he finishes it off with a PK. He started doing that over the last couple of matches. So Orange Cassidy, the sports entertainer type, is now becoming a pro wrestler. And people are into it. People see this progression. And that, folks, is a story. But no one, his tremendous run of 2023 is a story. But there's not a wacky cast of characters around him. There's no special vignettes being shot. There's no wacky filters being put over the camera. No, it's just progression, natural evolution. Jesus Christ. Wardlow shows up. Okay, well, first of all, Max goes and knocks on Kenny Omega's door because he's got his little fucking clipboard and he's got all his names and he's got to cross them off. And he goes to see if Kenny Omega, because look, can't fault him. Makes sense. They shook hands after Collision. Respect. It says might as well give it a go. He goes to knock on their locker room, and it is Chris Jericho who answers because they're having a match, they being Kenny Omega and Jericho later on in the evening. And Jericho and Max have history, and they clearly don't like each other still. And, Jericho just closes the door in his face. Okay, but we get this shit throughout the entire evening. This is true to form sports entertainment. We'll see what kind of hijinks is he going to get into when we all know who the fucking trio is going to be that's going to join him. We've known for weeks. Popping out, you have Max Caster popping out from behind a corner, doing the scissor thing. What the fuck is this? How is this different than Bray Wyatt hanging out in the background in the shadows? How is this different than Jimmy Uso listening through a door, right? We're listening to Sammy talk to whoever the fuck. I don't quite remember, but you have one of the Usos. The door is open and you see him go, How is this different? It's all the fucking same. Then Wardlow appears out of nowhere. See, this is the thing. Max does his thing with Omega. Then he turns around that Wardlow was just there. He didn't see Wardlow at all. Wardlow rushes him. Then we do the thing with fucking Max, and I have no time for this. Throughout the evening, Samoa Joe, and he writes what the fuck did he write on Darby's? I couldn't make it out. I couldn't read it. I couldn't see. And I didn't try. I know my eyesight is poor. I know I'm a cranky old curmudgeon. I get it. May your eyesight be stricken, Warren, for saying bad things about AEW. But throughout the evening, it's that. It's all throughout the evening, it's that. Until finally, well, we talked about it, the MJF is the Acclaimed give him the gear in a trash bag, and MJF's not sure he wants to do this. There's one more group that I want to check, and they panned the camera, and they were there all the whole time, all fucking Jeff Jarrett and Karen and Sanjay and Satnam and Jay Lethal all huddled up. They were there the whole time. It takes me out of it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you all. And I'm sorry if you can't see the clear WWE influence, the clear sports entertainment aspects of it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry that you can't see them. Then we get the trios match. You want to talk? Listen, nothing more aggravating or sports entertaining than a wrestler, becoming like a fucking crow seeing a shiny object, than a wrestler losing all his concentration, dropping everything because another wrestler starts talking on the microphone or music starts. So Swerve comes out during the match of the Hung Bucs versus Brian Cage in the Gates of Agony. And Swerve, insults Hangman, and Hangman makes a beeline for him, leaving the Bucs all alone to take on those three monsters. He's clearly the muscle in the group. And they lose. The Young Bucks, the Hung Bucs, they lose the Ring of Honor 6-man trio titles in a ridiculous match that wasn't very good for the time it was on. For the time it was going, it stunk. And then we had to do this inane angle throughout it all, right? Because wrestlers abandon everything. Paige left, doesn't give a shit about the titles. Okay, they lost them. What's the point of having the titles if you don't give a shit about them? And this is another prevailing issue in AEW. Who cares about the titles? Who cares about the world title? Don't forget MJF and Adam Cole, and you can go back and listen to my Wembley review, because I said the exact same thing as I'm going to tell you right here. They weren't fighting about the title, and at the end, MJF was like tossing the title away, and it's like, if this is going to get between both of us, I value your friendship a lot more. And they, all this fucking bullshit, you're fighting for the biggest prize in the company. It should matter more than friendships. This is what it's all about. Otherwise, why do I care? At least MJF is making a concerted effort through the Jay White stealing the belt angle to try and get it back and make it feel important again. But God bless Jay White for doing this, because Jay White, not a fucking moron, he understands what a big prize is about. He's a prize fighter. He's a former international world champion. He knows. Anyway, a nothing match with a nothing finish to make the Ring of Honor 6-man titles feel even less important. Great work. Fantastic. And then Swerve versus Hangman 2 at Full Gear. Sure. Didn't have to go this way, but sure. And Matt is pissed. Matt is pissed. Let's throw in one more thing I liked on this show. Matt is pissed. Matt Jackson. He throws a tantrum ringside. Backstage, then later on in the evening, we have a little vignette. I think it's after the Jericho, the Jericho Omega match. I can't quite remember. It all sort of, this is one big schmoz ball of schmoz. Goes backstage. Omega and Jericho are in the locker room, and then the Bucks are there, and Matt gets pissy at Omega. Starts telling, oh, since the Elite reunited, we were supposed to have our backs. Where were you? Doesn't feel like you're having my band. Why'd you let this guy in our locker room? And Kenny's trying to play it down. He's like, oh, so Matt is back to being pissy. And I like pissy Matt Jackson. Pissy Matt Jackson is the best Matt Jackson. He's getting mad at Hangman Adam Page again, and he has reason. He has history. He was always the one. He was the last one that needed convincing, right? It was always Matt and Page who are at odds. Here we go again. Now Kenny's trying to, no. This feels oddly familiar, but in a good way. These are the stories that make sense. These are the stories that are good. Diving into history. Does this mean the Young Bucks are going to be back into the title picture for the tag teams? Maybe. And if so, good. Good. Tony Schiavone's with Adam Copeland in the ring. Copeland starts to cut a promo as to whether or not he's going to team with Sting and Darby Allin at Full Gear. Christian Cage comes in. Of course, he's got Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne with him. He's saying that he's going to retire Sting at Full Gear, whether he likes it or not. He doesn't want Adam and his neck problems to get involved here. So he suggests to not join in or else he'll snap his neck. Copeland takes umbrage to this. The trio of heels attack. They try to concerto. They try to concerto Copeland, but Sting arrives. Darby arrives as well. The heels stand tall. We make the match at Full Gear. There you go. A very okay segment. And Christian is always good. But this show needed Christian cranked up to 15 here. 20. Tony Khan does his announcement. Here's the thing. More people are legitimately fucking bothered at a Tony Khan announcement. Much more bothered at a Tony Khan announcement than the quality of this edition of AEW Dynamite. This is how wild this is. People got upset when promoters are doing promoter things. No reason to get upset. Don't get everything twisted. Don't get me wrong. This is it's an announcement. It's a significant one. Hey, our show that we're doing next August, yeah, we're putting the tickets on sale just in a couple of weeks. So get your tickets now. It's a big deal. And does he want to try and steal some thunder from WWE? Like, when are the tickets going on sale for the Germany show? Like, maybe he's just trying to get ahead of the pack here, which I think this rules. If that's the case, I think it rules. Why wouldn't he do that? Why wouldn't he try to undercut WWE and have wrestling fans have to choose? Should we go to Wembley? Should we go to Cologne? Right? Isn't it in Cologne? In Germany, anyway. Promoter shit. Let's do it. I'm into it. What the fuck are people expecting? Again, everyone goes, oh, maybe it's going to be the TV deal. They're not going to announce the fucking TV deal on a Wednesday night Dynamite. They're going to put out press releases. They're going to give interviews to Variety, and the fucking Hollywood Reporter. They're going to throw out press releases. They're going to get press for this. It's not going to be dropped awkwardly by Tony Khan, standing. Well, it's been a great year for Dynamite, and tonight we are very thrilled to announce that we have signed a new deal, which the majority of wrestling fans don't give a shit about. It's only us weirdos who do. It's the streaming. It's like the same thing. They're going to put this shit in a press release and they're going to send it out and they're going to do interviews. They're not going to drop that big a news item in the middle slapdash of their show. What are we talking about? But no, people got upset. Just lean into it. This is promoter shit. This is pro wrestling. You're getting worked. You're mad because you got worked. Let yourself get worked. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega defeated 2.0. Who cares? Honestly. After the match, Don Callis talks some more shit, and then they're putting what do they call it? They're doing a no DQ match, a street fight on a Dynamite in a couple of weeks. Next week, Kenny and the Don Callis family versus Kenny and Jericho, and they're bringing in Kenny Omega. And Chris Jericho said, "I have a friend that's bigger than Hobbs," and it's Paul White. And at this point, and I look, there's so many things that I could go off on, right? But I am, the idea of using old guard, and our boy Garrett Kidney on Twitter, tweeted about it, and he's absolutely right. Why are we having so many old guard wrestlers in these spots recently? Very, very recently. We got Tall Paul coming out. We've got Sting. We've got Ric Flair. We've got the Hardys. Like, what? Edge. Why are we leading into this old guard so hard? And this is another thing. With all of the time lost on these segments and this storyline progression, right? These segments and this roster is so fucking deep. And it is full of some of the most talented wrestlers on planet Earth. Where are the cool matches? This is what is so frustrating sometimes when you watch Dynamite, when you know what they're capable of and what they decide not to do. And I'm not just talking about cool matches by bringing in people, right? You drag in someone from CMLL, like you do a Mystico Rocky Romero thing, or you bring in Will Ospreay or Kazuchika Okada. That's not what I'm talking about. Although they're cool. But you have this plethora. You've got some of the most talented cruiserweights, light heavyweights, luchadors on earth. Why can't we get why do we have to go to Rampage to get a cool as fuck three-way lucha style match between Penta, Commander, and Vikingo? Why do we have to go to Why is this not on the flagship? Why aren't we getting this week after week? Why aren't we having more women's matches? They did a lovely painted down red commercial spot thing with Doja Cat and just legitimately outstanding production. Great shit. But then we get served cold oatmeal. What the fuck are we doing? I don't know, look, I have to move on here because Shida versus Willow Nightingale was fine. And again, I'm seeing people going, this match was great. No, it was not great. You don't have to say it was great when it's not. It was fine. A perfectly competent, acceptable professional wrestling match. Nothing bad about it, but definitely nothing great. It's fine. Good little match. Then the post-match angle where Sky Blue can't even spit mist properly. What the fuck are we doing? And the main event was a mess. And I got nothing for you. MJF eats. Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Jay White, Blade Runners, MJF clean as a whistle in the ring, or as clean as this match could be, because there was so much fucking nonsense. Everyone wanted Max to scissor. Max gets his heat back immediately after, right? Can't let Jay White have a moment where he's just the most despicable person on earth, knocking out MJF, keeping the boys from doing the scissor thing, right? Max gets his heat back immediately, so everything is invalidated. He stands tall, even though he lost the match. Who cares? We know Max is winning. See, here's the thing, is that we know Max is winning at Full Gear, but they could at least try to make us believe that Jay has a chance. Nobody landed the Blade Runner on him. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Since we're talking about parallels with WWE, this is the most WWE thing you could do as well. Have the champion lose to the challenger before the pay-per-view. There you go. This is where we're at. I'm going to wrap it up with this. And this is, again, something I mention once in a while, but it is this is what fuels me when I do these. This is what, that sounds corny. Let me say that again. This is at the very basis of what I do. This is always what I keep in mind. And I believe this with my whole heart. Criticism, true criticism, comes from a place of love. If I did not love pro wrestling, if I did not love AEW Dynamite, I wouldn't be this upset. I wouldn't be sitting here being this heavily critical of what's going on. Now, you can just sit here and say negative, negative, negative. I would hope that my body of work and everything that I do, doing weekly recaps here and on Sundays for AEW shows, and then more stuff on the MrWarrenHayes show proper. I would hope my body of work would show that if anything, I am fair. I am as level as I can, right up until moments where I feel I cannot be level, like tonight. But I feel like I would hope that you could go back, especially if you've been listening, watching for a while. You say, no, Warren calls it like he sees it, and he's fair. Because I don't outright just sit here and poo-poo and say, no, this sucks. I will always try and give you reasons for why something is disagreeable to me, just as much as I'm going to try and give you reasons why I like something. If I'm going to sit here and tell you this is a 5-star match, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life, I'm going to tell you why. You deserve to know that too. And everything I do here is out of love. If I hated this, I'd stop. I wouldn't watch it anymore. It's just that simple. But I don't, because I love pro wrestling. I sincerely, truly love professional wrestling with my whole heart. And maybe this ruffles some sensibilities, but I want you to trust me when I tell you that what happened on the November 1st AEW Dynamite, November 1st, 2023 AEW Dynamite, is not good pro wrestling. It's not even good AEW. AEW is better than this, and we should expect more from them. We shouldn't feel like we should make excuses for stuff that they produce. We should be able to love it truly, sincerely, with our whole heart, without having to make up reasons as to why this wasn't so bad, this was good, so on and so forth. That's what I try to do. That's what I'm bringing to the table. And if you're still listening to this, well, I'm only hoping that you made it this far because it resonates at the very least. Don't have to agree. But at the very least, what I'm saying, you're trying to make sense of it. You're trying to absorb it. Looking forward to your comments, if you feel like it, in the comments below. Or on Blue Sky, I'm on Blue Sky. Blue Sky rules. It's getting really fun these days. Try to get an invite, get past the bouncers. Folks, I will be back on Sunday for the Collision review. I will. I promise. Thank you so much for putting up with me. I'll see you next time.